Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning. Welcome to a Monday edition of the program, Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Monday. That means we'll have JC here in just a minute. Then we're going to have Allan Taylor from The Athletic join us, get his thought. He's the beat writer for the Gators. Get his thoughts. It's always good to get different people's perspective on the mighty Gators, what they're hearing, what they're thinking, things of that nature. Got a lot to talk about today. Gators scrimmaged on Saturday. We can talk a little bit about that. Still, things are going well in recruiting. NFL preseason games are in full force. And golf, the BMW Championship. They play the Tour Championship next week. It was pretty exciting yesterday if you missed it. But let's go ahead and go to the Titan Tomorrow hotline. Oh, and we are 13 days away from Gator football. And there's only one 13 that jumps out to me. We'll ask JC if he has a 13 for the Gators. Good morning, JC. How are you?
Hey, yeah, good. Yeah, You get me on these numbers, and I should always be ready for it because I have to look it up. I just don't remember numbers.
Well, there's only one that jumps out, and he wore a skill guy's number before these big dudes nowadays all wear these skills. And this was back in the Spurrier era. Okay. Defensive lineman wore number 13.
Okay, why can't I get this?
I think he's our all-time sack leader.
Javon Curse.
No, he was 42.
42. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me either. 42 should be an offensive guy.
I don't know if he has the all-time sack record. I think he has the single season. It would be, I believe he's from Hamilton County High School. I think he's a Trojan.
Okay.
I think he played quarterback in high school.
Why can't I get?
We're wasting time here. Alex Brown.
Oh, God, he was good. Yeah. He wore 13? Really? Mm-hmm. Man, see, that just doesn't resonate with me. My brain doesn't think that way. I can't think of players like that wearing numbers like that, but he was one of the best Florida's ever had, ever. I thought he was that good.
You know what's crazy is I was talking to a couple of former players the other day. Yeah. And, you used to could go out to a practice or a scrimmage or watch a Gator game, and there was like 10 to 12 dudes on the roster playing that you're going like, those dudes are going to be playing on Sunday. Yeah. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
It just ain't like that anymore.
No.
And it's going to take time, but we got to get back to that way of playing ball.
Well,
Ray Criswell was a punter that wore number 13, I guess they say here.
I remember him. QB, listen, we're going to find out who the studs are as the season gets going. You never know. I mean, maybe it's Ricky Pearsall. Maybe it's, it could be anybody that we haven't seen play yet. Pearsall led Arizona State receptions, a year ago? So, maybe it could be Jamarcus Weston. Who knows? It could be anybody. But I'm just saying that, we learn as the year goes along what the team is like and who's going to really make an impact. And that's what one of the things I always look forward to, QB. I'll tell you what I'm not looking forward to is about the 3 weeks of rain it seems like we're going to have here in the area. It seems like this happens every year about this time. So I'm not looking forward to that. I also read something over the weekend, QB, where, we talked about last week how the Big Ten had this massive media deal, $7.2 billion in 3 networks and all these time slots that they're going to lock up, whereas they're going to actually put their primary game on at noon, which is 11 a.m. for half that conference, which is unthinkable to me. But anyway, last year the Big Ten had 9 teams of the 14 in their league that were above 500, and 2 of those 9 teams were 7-6. So for all of the greatness that the Big Ten likes to talk about with regards to their TV package, and it is great, their league has to show it on the field, in my opinion. But without that, all you're really doing is watching 3 or 4 teams in that whole conference. And that's, to me, I guess that's what these networks want to pay for. If they want to pay for 4 teams, they can do that. But when you have 9 teams that made it above 500 and 2 of those were 7-6 and not that good at all, half your conference is a mediocre or worse team. And I don't know, $7.2 billion, really? Now I know it's split up amongst 3 networks, but I just was looking at that the other day thinking, what is so great about the Big Ten? Well, the media markets. It's obvious that now with USC and UCLA, it's Los Angeles to New York to Minneapolis to Detroit to Cincinnati to Cleveland, and those markets are what drive that price. And I didn't know, last time I checked, when I went to those cities, that anybody gave 2 craps about college football. Frankly, nobody in Detroit really does. Nobody in Cleveland, I don't think, really does. Los Angeles, forget it. And I know it's about television sets, and there's a lot of them, but a lot of those TV sets weren't watching Trojan football last year, and a lot of those TV sets were sure as hell not watching UCLA football last year. So I'm not trying to spit on their deal because it's unbelievable, their deal. I don't know if it'll be matched by ESPN, but I will tell you that
I think the SEC will make more money than the Big Ten.
Well, they haven't yet. I mean, Big Ten's highest revenue.
They will. Joseph says here on Facebook Live, there's a few out there, QB. Definitely need more, but it's not like we don't have no one. He's talking about my watching the Gators in the 90s and the early 2000s. Oh. You would see NFL players. Yeah. I'm not so sure about that.
Well, not just the early 2000s, QB. I mean, 06 and 08, especially 08, had a lot of NFL players on it.
Well, that would be considered the early 2000s to me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Those teams had pros running around everywhere. The defensive backfield was as good as I've ever seen. Yeah.
John says we need everyone healthy and need them back fast. Having Jack Miller out for the first few weeks of the season and the rest of camp hurts because now Richard has a track record of getting hurt. Look, like I said, I've never in all my years of being around sports, people worry about who the backup quarterback is more, it seems like, here than any other place in America. Is that true, or is that just me?
No, I think it's more a function of worrying about whether or not the durability.
Okay. So you can't worry about it. Like I've said. Okay.
Well, I just told you what it was.
JC, let me ask you a question. In the last 10 years, would you say the Gator quarterbacks take a beating more or less than the quarterbacks in the Spurrier era?
No, it was you guys. But
yes. And so my point is, do you know, in Coach Spurrier's 12 years as being a head coach here, and I want to say, I can't speak on South Carolina. How many times do you think one of his starting quarterbacks missed a game due to injury?
Not many.
0.
Yeah.
So,
but you guys got just
we got murdered and mauled.
You got hit a lot. You got hit a lot.
What I'm saying is, you cannot worry about injury. If you're going to worry about who your backup this is, your backup there, and scared to play, you can't play football. It's impossible. And I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
For the Gators to have a chance to win football games, Anthony Richardson has to run the football minimum of 10 times a game. Minimum. Mm-hmm. If they want to be in the game. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I've watched enough practice that they have got to run the football, which they're going to run between the tackles with number 5 and number 2, which is Naquan Wright and Montrell Johnson.
Yep.
They're the 2 best running backs. But we are going to be a running football team. Buckle your chin straps, folks. That's what we're going to be.
Yeah, well, that's not a secret. You've been talking about that for about a month and a half, and I don't think that's a surprise. I just think the concern you're talking about comes from the overall lack of depth this team is going to have in all likelihood, and that's probably what folks are anxious about. You know what I mean? And let's be honest, if you're talking about running the football as much as you are, and Richardson gets 10, but maybe 20 carries a game or 15. He's going to get hit quite a bit, so people get a little nervous about that.
Yeah, well, that's the only way we can be competitive. Joseph says Gervon Dexter will play in the NFL. We'll see. He has all the size and stature, but he has got to play better than all this billing.
Yeah.
Jason Marshall Jr. will definitely play in the National Football League. Osiris Torrance will too. Those are 3. Dude, Joseph, I'm talking about there used to be 10 to 15 across the board is my point. And when I talk about playing, I'm not talking about have a cup of coffee. I'm talking about 5 or more years in the league. There will be guys that go and play a 1 or 2 years because that's their average career is 2.5 years. So, anyway, we got some text here we need to get to, JC.
Okay.
This one says, this is from Josh. He says, hey, Shane, I think the Gators finished 6th or 8th in their season in recruiting and then top 5 next year. Do you think getting Graham as an early commit for 2024 jumpstart some other big-time recruits for next year's class here? Well, that's 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Ernest Graham's boy out of Georgia is a 2024 commit. Look, I think next year's class, 2023, will be a top 5 when it's all said and done. This is from Darrow. He says, good morning, guys. I watched some of the Ravens-Cardinals game last night. It seems to me they need to roll out of the stadium and put some water and some sunshine on it. Oh, he's talking about the grass field. I didn't even notice that. But, yeah, they roll the grass field in and out down there at Arizona, which I love. I love, by the way, because there's nothing worse than turf.
Yeah. Well, that's right. But QB, I want to tell you, when I saw the Cardinals in those black helmets, I felt like turning it off immediately.
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about.
Didn't do anything that's not working for me. That doesn't look like an NFL football team to me. I don't know what that was. That was
another anonymous texter here on the Titan More text line. Hey, Shane, in high school, was Anthony hurt very often? Yes, he was. That doesn't mean he's going to get hurt this year. Just, I mean, he pulled his hamstring. That's what everybody's thinking about last year. Now, he hurt his knee, I think, doing some other stuff, but I think he's had a knee issue for a while. This comes from John. He says, QB, it's looking like Chris Rodriguez will miss the Florida game for Kentucky. When you look at how we lost the game last year in Lexington, we basically beat ourselves. I think we can pull that game out.
Tell me why.
I think Utah is winnable, too. How do you like our chances to be 3-1 after the first 4 games? I think that would be a great start. I know this is a glass half full point of view.
Yeah.
Chris Rodriguez is scheduled to miss that, but let me tell you something. Kentucky is loaded at running back. They got this other dude named Cavassier Smoke, who is legit.
Yeah.
I've talked to a couple of people that work in breakdown football and they're on TV about these 2 games. And on paper and watching tape.
Yeah.
They've said that Florida will not have a chance to win either one of these games. However, you don't play games by watching on film. I mean, you watch tape, but we have to play smart football and don't turn it over and let the crowd have an effect on the game. So we shall see.
Well, wait a minute. Is this Rodriguez thing stemming from the DUI?
Yes.
And that's going to be 2 games?
I think it's going to be more. I don't know. They suppose he's missing the Florida game, but Cavassier Smoke is a legit SEC running back.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that had already been determined, but maybe. I don't know. Kentucky is, you've heard people say that they're going 11-1. I can't see that, but what do I know? They haven't played yet either.
Yeah, but they're supposed to be their best team, and I think Stoops has done a tremendous job. Here's what I would like to ask. Would you rather beat Utah or would you rather beat Kentucky? If you have one choice, who would you rather beat?
Utah.
Why?
Because I think Florida will.
That's not a conference game, so what does it matter?
Well, you're saying in terms of would you rather play a team that's already had a game or a team that's starting?
No. I'm saying if you could choose one win for the Gators, would it be against Utah or would it be against Kentucky?
It would be Kentucky, of course, but you didn't say that. You didn't say. You just said, who would you rather be? I thought you were talking about Kentucky or Utah. If you got to choose what game you'd rather win, of course it's Kentucky. Of course it is. I mean, it would be a real shot in the. It would be the headline news story of the weekend if they beat Utah, who's coming in at number 7, or 8. But you got to win your conference games, right, QB? I mean, that's the East. You can't lose games in the East. You can lose one in the West and still win the division, but you don't want to lose them in the East. You lose tiebreakers that way, and then the team you lose to has to lose twice. So I would say definitely the Kentucky game.
David says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melon Law, we will pass 15 to 20 times a game early in the season. we're off tackle and a cloud of dust team. Just my prediction. We're going to run the football. Yeah. You're going to see a lot of wide receiver screens because that's like an extended version of the passing game. But like I told you, the best plays are going to be Anthony running around scrambling. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. Well, he can cause problems when he runs the football, and he needs to run the football for this team to have a chance to be any good.
I guess you just don't want it to be 3rd and 12. You know, you don't want it to be 3rd and 9.
No.
And that's first down, getting yards on 1st and 2nd down. You got to set yourself up for 3rd down to have a chance.
Yeah. Let's get to, are you in the market, JC, you in the market to buy or sell your home? A realtor with Caldwell Banker in Paris will provide you a fast, friendly, and reliable service. Call her today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. JC, we're going to have G. Allan Taylor from the Athletic join us here in a minute. I saw this on Twitter. Best winning percentage against ranked teams since 2015. You had to play a minimum of 20 ranked teams. Who would you think the top 7 in America are with the best winning percentage against ranked teams?
Well, I think I just picked the teams that have the best winning percentage, basically. So I'm going to go with Ohio State, Alabama. I'm going to go with maybe Georgia. You know, those are 3. That's 3 right there.
Well, it's the regular folks. Alabama 1, Ohio State 2, Clemson 3, Oklahoma's at 4.
Okay.
Georgia's at 5.
Right.
And then the next 2 were kind of somewhat surprising. Oklahoma State at 6.
Okay.
And LSU at 7.
Hey, man, Oklahoma State's done everything they can. They are Oklahoma's equal, it seems like, except when they play each other. But for the basic body of work, they've done as well as Oklahoma for the most part, I think. But yeah, I mean, dude, I'm kind of surprised. Who'd you say? Oklahoma State and who?
LSU was 7.
Oh, LSU. Wow. Okay.
So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. You know, starting their football games this weekend. You know that?
I did. Vanderbilt's going to Hawaii, dude.
I think Nebraska is playing somebody in Ireland. It's a conference game for them.
It would be Northwestern. And I'm pretty sure that's who it is. And yeah, that is a conference game right off the bat, just like that.
You think they're bitching and complaining about playing over there and losing a recruiting weekend?
I don't think they have any interest in going all the way the hell to Ireland. Whose idea was this? I mean, what athletic director got together and said, hey, why don't we go get the game in Ireland under our belt?
So Nebraska and Northwestern play at 12:30 Saturday. So what time is it over in Ireland?
Well, that would be 5 hours ahead of us. So that would be 5:30, obviously, in the afternoon. And it would be, an hour earlier for the Nebraska and Northwestern folks. They're on Central Time. So 6 hours difference for the Nebraska Northwestern folks. They're tuning in at 11:30. I'm telling you, the Big Ten's going to have to get used to these 11 a.m. games. I don't think the fans are going to like it, but what do I know? I'm not a Big Ten guy. But half that conference is going to be playing their biggest game, or a lot of their games in the morning. I guess that's fun. Yeah, well, I can tell you this, QB. I canceled the Alabama-Texas trip I was going to take because of what Fox did to that game. And I know a lot of people who did as well. So it's just not the atmosphere you want to travel to. It's just not. 11 a.m., that means 9 a.m. you're going to start drinking? Who's doing that?
Well, you don't have to drink and go to a tailgate.
No, you're right. Iced tea and lemonade. Sounds great. That's so much fun. I tell you, I could also just do that in a hotel lobby. Okay? I could do that in a hotel lobby if I have to. But no thanks. I'm passing that. I mean, Fox ruined it. Fox is going to get the number 1 game in that conference now at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to be a fixture in their scheduling, and everybody's going to hate it. Everybody.
Yeah. Joseph asked on Facebook Live, are we back live on Wednesdays this week? Yes. Also on Wednesdays after JC will be joined, not this Wednesday. I think it starts next Wednesday. Mike Morgan from the SEC Network will kind of give us a rundown of the picture of all of what's going on in the conference.
Isn't he a Florida guy?
Yeah, he graduated from the same journalism school you went to, apparently.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Well, no, I did go there, QB. In fact, I was offered by Bob Williams, former TV20 fame, a chance to be a teacher in the J school. I just didn't have the time. I could have gone and taught at your J school at the University of Florida. Think about that, QB. But I didn't take it. Maybe I should have. I don't know. I watch the talent these days on TV, and I don't see a lot of presence or poise or real ability there. But it's maybe that's just an old guy like me talking.
Maybe that's how you were when you first started.
Yeah,
with the mustache. QB, I know you picked the Bills to go to the Super Bowl again.
Oh,
how does losing Brian Daboll affect Josh Allen that offense this year, if at all? I don't think it affects them at all. I know it's preseason because I could care less about preseason. Players don't care about preseason.
Me too.
But I'm telling you right now, I clicked on the TV the other day. The Bills were playing somebody in a preseason game, and their backups are legit. I mean, they have so much depth on their roster. It's crazy.
That's
and
good.
I'm sticking with the Bills to win it all.
Good drafting. The organization is drafted well. Their nemesis is Kansas City, and maybe this year they get them. Maybe this is the year for them. Buffalo is one of the most, passionate fan bases of all sporting everything, and yet they have no championships, and it's really sad. But I think you could be right about them. They are so loaded, and I think their coach has done a great job. But man, they just can't get over that hump in the playoffs. So we'll see. Maybe this is the year. They play in an awful stadium. They play in a city that's great, but it's not great. And they were stuck in the division with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and that's just an L right there. So maybe it's going to turn for them. I think now is the time, though. That you're right. That roster is as good as anybody's in the NFL.
Oh, it's so good and so deep. It's crazy.
It really is. Doesn't it surprise you that the players were willing to go to Buffalo and play? I
think it depends. Once you get to a certain age or years in the league, you want to go try to win. Mm-hmm. The money and all that. But Buffalo's it's a great place to play, but it's a terrible place to play as well because of the weather. But it is what it is. It just goes with their identity. But I think people like playing for Sean McDermott.
Well, yeah, he's done fantastic. It seems like these players, when they know they have a chance, if they see their quarterback is really good, that just seems to be the thing. If you want to win, you go to a team with a quarterback.
Yeah, well, it is the most all the sports.
Yeah.
If you got a good one, you got a chance. If you don't, you're gonna have a long year.
Yeah, you said that. Who was Trubisky? He's competing against the young guy. I just saw it over the weekend.
Starter.
Who? What happened? You went away. I'm sorry.
No, I'm here. Well, I said Kenny Pickett is their starter.
So Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett, and Mitch Trubisky. Yeah, that's going to be fun to see how that transpires. Kenny Pickett looked good against Jacksonville, I thought.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, the Jags are going to win this year because Doug.
I lost him, Tammy.
Freezing up for some reason. What's going on here? JC, are you there?
Okay, I got you now.
Are we there?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
You said something about the Jaguars. They're going to be.
You said last year the Jaguars were going to win 7. They will win 7 this year because Doug Peterson knows what he's doing.
That's 100% right. Yeah. I didn't know that Urban was so bad. I didn't know that he was that incompetent at the NFL level. I just had no idea he was that bad. I thought that the people around him would help him. It turns out that he turned into a little Napoleon dictator, and it failed. But you're right about Doug Peterson. Both of us cheered that hire. It's a great hire.
Who? I cheered the Urban hire?
No, the Doug Peterson hire.
Oh, yeah, I love Doug Peterson.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
All right, JC, let's switch gears to golf. I don't know if you watched some of the golf yesterday. One of the most incredible things I've ever seen on the PGA Tour is Colin Morikawa yesterday.
I couldn't believe it.
He hits the ball 10 feet for birdie, and he 4 putts. I mean, he missed 2 putts like a foot. Then he goes to the next hole, and it's a par 5 and dumps 2 in the wall. I'm talking it's like something you would have seen at West End. He chomped 2 shots and made a 10.
When he hit that second ball in the water, and he just basically threw his club and walked back.
I've never seen a pro do that. It was unbelievable.
This guy has he's won 2 majors already in his career, and he couldn't hit a ball in the club face yesterday. It was great. And it just goes to show you, folks, golf can get the best of even the best in the world, man. It's and he is one of the best in the world. He simply is. But boy, he played like a 20 handicap on that hole. That was unbelievable, really.
Yeah. So Patrick Cantlay wins the BMW Championship for back-to-back years. They go to the Tour Championship in Atlanta this week, which is an odd format, but the winner starts at -10.
Yeah.
And they have it staggered all the way down. So it's going to be tough to catch the top 4 or 5 guys that tee off. But it's going to be interesting when this tournament is over on Sunday, what happens with some of these names if they go to the Club 54.
Yeah, I know. You've mentioned names like Finau and Cameron Smith. Man, I mean, if you're going to take the winners off this tour and stick them on an exhibition tour, I don't know what that does.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you just think about watching yesterday, because you watched yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Remember, there were guys you're trying to get in the top 30 to move on to the final event, and every shot mattered.
Yeah.
Not one damn shot on the Tour 54 matters. Not one.
I get it. I totally get it. And it's just a big surprise. Like I saw Brooks Koepka doing a Shrixon commercial yesterday. I didn't even want to watch it. The guy's not going to play on tour anymore. So it's like, he's pushing Shrixon. Who cares?
Greg says on Facebook Live, Club 54 is a strip club near his house.
Oh, well, Greg. Okay. Well, I just, man. I mean, we've gone through this. I just don't. I mean, I understand the money thing, but I don't understand the lack of competitive desire in lieu of money, because you can make the same kind of money on the PGA Tour with a sponsorship and endorsement deals. That's what these guys. That's how they've gotten rich, is off that, not the purse.
Greg says it's on State Road 34, JC. Oh, 54. State Road 54, wherever that is. I don't know where. Joe says Liv announced that 7 new signings will be announced after the championship. Yeah, I don't know who it's going to – I mean, I think Cam Smith's gone. I think
that's too bad.
I don't know who's going to go. It's just it breaks my heart. I mean,
it hurts golf. It hurts golf, dude. It hurts golf. It's not helping anybody. And if they think this is going to catch on, I don't think it will. I'm still going to watch Sunday afternoon on whatever's on the PGA Tour. I'm not going to watch the 3rd round of a shotgun start somewhere in Portland, Oregon. I don't care. I don't care. I
don't either.
I don't care.
If you missed it also, Keontae Johnson, former Gator, has now committed or signed with Kansas State. What's interesting is the Gators play Kansas State this year. I think it's in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. So that will be interesting.
That will be interesting. Basketball.
I think somebody I talked to close to the basketball program told me he was cleared by every school except Florida.
Jimmy, real quick before you let me go, what do you think? I thought Cal was kind of a little brazen there with that basketball stool comment. Basically just disregarding all the hard work that Mark Stoops has done at that school. I didn't like that. Did you have a feeling about that?
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I mean, I'll sit here and tell you that Kentucky is a basketball school, but for them to butt heads about it is ridiculous because I mean,
they're on the same team. They're on the same
exactly.
team.
Exactly. That would be like Todd Golden and Billy arguing over facilities or what have you.
Yeah. All these Florida coaches love each other, and they all root for each other's teams. I mean, I've seen football coaches at the softball World Series. Okay. Right. I mean, football coaches travel to support the softball team. I mean, everybody supports each other. You don't go and try to isolate yourself and say, I'm the biggest revenue driver, but there's also a football team over there. That's not. Look, if Kentucky goes 11-1, you'll see what that's all about. They'll follow that. Yeah.
All right, JC, before we get you out of here, we're going to get to This Day in Sports, which is brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Beat the summer heat. Schedule your air conditioners tune up today, keeping you chill in the Florida heat far away. Comfort Tip Heating and Air calls today at 352-376-2360. 888-866-9666. This day in sports, in 2007, the Texas Rangers rout the Baltimore Orioles 30-3, the most runs scored by a team in modern Major League Baseball history. That's a lot of runs. And I don't know if people missed it last night, but they had the Little League Classic or whatever. The Orioles played the Red Sox there in Williamsport.
Yeah.
And I'm flipping through the channels, and I think it was ESPN2. I didn't realize this, but they had two kids on the kids cast announcing the game. I thought they were outstanding. I thought they were better than listening to Carl Ravitch and that crew.
They were good. Yeah, and it's a good little deal there, man. It's a huge ballpark, by the way. It's hard to hit a home run in that place. But, it's a good thing to do once a year. Hey, real quick before we go, ask G. Allen for me if, what his percentages would be for Florida to get that kid out of Tampa that decommitted from Notre Dame as it pertains to, say, Alabama. Something like that. If you can remember, if you can. He's a big name, man. He's a 5-star. He's from Tampa Berkeley Prep, I believe. Yeah. And Florida needs that guy. But Alabama's right there after him. So I'm just curious what Allen thinks about that.
All right, we'll ask him. All right, JC, have a good day. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.
All right, thanks. Thanks a lot. See you then.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. Going to take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll be joined by G. Allan Taylor from The Athletic, talking Gator football. Shoot us your text or questions on the Titan More text line or Facebook Live. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points where the Gators go to celebrate. With premium brands like Escape Apology, Sushi Hana, Regal Cinemas, Kilwins, Le Macaron, Prime and Pearl, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 2:30, you can get the hottest brunch in town. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. We're now going to go back to the Titan More Hotline. We're going to be joined by G. Allan Taylor from The Athletic, who covers the Gators. Good morning, G. Allan. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well, man. I like your very natural setting there, man.
We're in a swamp. That's that we do our broadcast sometimes from the swamp. So we got a couple questions that people have already sent in. JC wanted me to ask you, do you follow recruiting a lot or no?
I do. Reluctantly,
okay.
But I do.
Okay. So he wants to know the chances. Now, he's an Alabama grad, but he also graduated from Florida as well. The kid that decommitted from Notre Dame, the kid from Tampa Berkeley Prep, the defensive end, I believe. What are the chances of him becoming a Gator, or will he end up being an Alabama Crimson Tide?
Well, Florida's chances obviously got an increase when he decommitted, right? And I think the last staff was trying to get him to decommit, and the new one is as well. But it's just hard to say no when Alabama's had that run of edge rushes guy. But I would say this: I mean, Florida's no worse than second for him right now.
Yeah, and I think people are getting excited. Obviously, they've had a really good run here of late, getting commitments. Obviously, the facility has a lot to do with it. I think these people, the staff that Billy has, they relate really well to these players. They're relentless recruiters. just talk a little bit about the difference you have seen from this staff compared to last year's staff.
Yeah, it just looks like there's so much more of a top-down emphasis on it, and obviously, I don't think Mullen only recruited after the season. That's just something he said in a press conference after a loss. But there is definitely a move not only to get kids on campus, but to make every one of their visits sort of special and individualized, so that if they make multiple visits on their second and third return trip, they're seeing different things. They're not getting the old template of what they would do on campus for an unofficial. So I think that shows some customization that probably resonates with these guys and their families. So to me, that's a very organized, systematic approach that can only help you. They got some really good guys to campus last year, and they didn't pan out. Billy's managing to get them here, and there's talk about them coming back. And so, right now that class is sitting 10th in the 24/7 rankings, which is right where Mullen's classes typically landed, between 9 and 12. But obviously, there's a lot more runway to December with this current group of 20 guys, all of whom apparently are quality takes versus just players you fill the class with, right? So I think he's ahead of the pace that Mullen's staff was setting, because there's still 3 or 4 impactful months to add on to that class with possible flips, like you mentioned, from the Notre Dame defensive end.
We got a text here on the Titan Mar text line from Rebecca. It's pretty long, but basically she wants to ask, from a media standpoint, how does the new facility affect you guys? It's nicer to go sit into a press conference, right?
It is. We went into it for the first time really yesterday. We've been in the indoor facility multiple times, but never in that one. I think it's going to help us with parking, because sometimes that's a chore for us, quite honestly, when school's in session. And also, what you hear about these players having to walk back and forth, for old guys like me, that's an assist too, because you're right there at a one-stop shop versus having to go in the stadium and then maybe go up to the press box level and then go down to the swamp and then go over to the facility. So all the logistical things that players brag about, I guess, will have an impact on us. And you mentioned it, man. It's like being in a really, really nice, modernized hotel lobby when you walk into that thing. And I think they had the thermostat set on about 62 yesterday when we walked in.
So let me ask you this question. I know you and Edgar and some of those guys, while y'all are waiting for a press conference to start, do y'all go sit in those massage chairs? Have you seen those?
I think Edgar might, because he's got his own personal chiropractor. So I think he's really excited about those. I guess they're zero gravity chairs, right? And
Yeah,
that float tank might also be good for a guy like me. I got a 9-month-old. I could use some restorative sleep.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about this team. Y'all don't get to watch a whole lot of practice. What you're hearing, what you've seen, obviously some guys have been banged up. They expect that Ricky Pearsall, those type of guys, to be ready against Utah. Just your overall thoughts of this football team.
It really hasn't changed that much since spring, when I thought it was somewhere between a 6-6 team and maybe an 8-4 team. And I think there's going to be a lot of games, just like last year, that were one-score games. I mean, who would have guessed that South Carolina, Missouri, and Kentucky would be sort of a revenge tour, at the Swamp this year? They don't typically lose to all 3 of those teams. So I think they've got a benefit there. Not a lot of dynamic guys on either side of the ball, more so probably on defense than offense. And so they're going to have to piecemeal it together. They're going to have to play probably possession football and hope Anthony is everything that he can be, and find situations to let him do what he does and not make it I don't want to say too complicated, because I think he processes pretty well for a third-year guy, but to let him loose and let him run without the threat of running, he's not Kyle Trask, right? He's not going to be a pocket passer that beats you. So yesterday, Billy Napier said he's going to let him loose, and that may not mean restricting him to 5 or 10 carries a game. It may be some games where he pulls an Emory Jones, right? And they actually end up running him 150 times over the course of the year. He's so dynamic. He may be their best running back and their best passer, right? So I don't think you can take the threat of running away from him. So just a team that's going to have to scrap week to week to get things done.
Yeah, I'm on record saying I think for Florida to be in games, be competitive, have chances of winning, he has to run the football, not design runs. They could be scrambles, whatever, at least 10 to 15 times a game. That's what he does best, and he's got to do it. I mean, it's that simple. So we'll see. We got a text here from Jim. Jim says, Allan, who has been your favorite player that you have interviewed since you've been covering the Gators?
Man, it's tough to beat Damian Pierce last year because it didn't matter if you caught him in the IPF after pro day, or if you caught him after a loss, or if you caught him on a Zoom on Tuesday. That cat had positive energy. And I know when coaches talk about energy vampires that suck the energy out of the room in a bad way, well, there's also the opposite kind of kids that inject it. And I think, man, his tough-mindedness and his positivity and his willingness just to have a conversation with you, because a lot of kids at that age, they're just checking a box, and maybe they've even been coached up by the SIDs to be cautious. But, man, Damian had been there long enough. He knew the game, and he knew people by their first name. And, I may by the time I retire, I may not find a better college athlete to talk to than him, because he's really an impressive dude.
Yeah, and he's gonna have a long career in the National Football League. We got a text here on the Titan Our text line, and you can kind of chime in on this as well, because I know y'all interviewed a bunch of former players. But John says, QB, Kevin Carter said the other day that none of the previous coaches have been inviting former players back to Gainesville, and it meant a lot to him that Napier reached out and did that. Do you share that same feeling about the previous coaches as Carter? And did you tour the facility with all the former players? Well, I did go through the facility a little bit the other day when they had that somewhat reunion. I'm there a couple times a week, so it's nothing new to me. I would say, look, Coach Napier is a former player. He gets it. He's also a former quarterback. I believe former quarterbacks really get it. And he embraces the Spurrier era. He embraces what Urban did, even back the Neil Andersons of the world, those guys before Spurrier. He ain't dumb. He gets it. So I would probably say, I think Muschamp did a good job with it as well, because he played the game, but Billy really understands it. And I think having that facility facilitated getting people back, because obviously all those former players wanted to see it, but you got to speak with some of them. What did they have to say?
Yeah, you mentioned that facility, and it was perfect timing to bring those guys back, because I think it was Brandon Siler that said, we built this, talking about those championships. And I think Billy isn't ignorant to the fact that this program isn't where it is, or potentially where it is, and you don't have facilities like that without guys that win championships, dating back to Spurrier and Galen Hall and what Urban Meyer's crew did, right? And so that was, to me, that was sort of a see what you guys had a piece of and take pride in it. And you've got so many dudes that not only won championships, but then went into the NFL, and they know how to handle their business. They know how to make a roster. They know what it takes, not only to be like a first-round pick, but also at the end of your career when you're trying to elongate that and earn money for an extra couple of years. They've got guys that have done that, and they've got guys that played in an era where you had to be tough as heck, and that 20-hour practice rule was a complete fallacy. So I think, and as a quarterback, man, it may be 120 hours, right? So I think having those guys around by osmosis is just the perfect thing for kids today who might feel or might not know that they're a little bit more entitled than previous generations.
It's so funny, because at the end of that practice, they had it didn't matter what era you came from. They wanted you to go to your position group and kind of talk to the groups, and the quarterbacks, it's a real small group. So it was just me and a couple other guys from way back when. And it was funny because they asked, after I spoke with them briefly, they asked some questions. And one of the questions they asked, where was the stadium when you played? I was like, the stadium has never moved, but it's so funny how young these kids are and the way they think. Wow. That, back when we played, the stadium was somewhere else, but because they've moved from the stadium to this new unbelievable football facility. But I got a kick out of that. I thought it was hilarious.
Dude, that would have been the perfect time for you to tell those kids, those young bucks, that y'all made it work at Flavit, and those, the home stands. That would have been the perfect opportunity to pull their leg.
Yeah, so it was pretty funny. All right, I want to ask you this, G. Allen. In your opinion, for the Gators to have a good offense this year, let's take Anthony out of there because we know the quarterback's the most important position. But can you single out one player you think that needs to have, whether it's a breakout year or just play at a high level for them to have success on offense? Is there one player that you're looking at?
Well, I'll address it from the standpoint of who I'm most concerned about. And if he doesn't play well, then I think they got major issues that you can't mask. And that's right tackle, with Michael Tarquin, because I think Garage is going to be serviceable on the left side. But if teams just have to flip their best edge rusher to come off Tarquin's end because he can't hold up things, then you got to have running backs chimping, and you got to have Anthony rolling out to his left side to get away from pressure. So one of the former staff members told me about Michael during the offseason that at least at this point he's learned what he can and can't do, so he doesn't try to do too much. And that might not seem like a compliment, but I think it really was, because he's getting more comfortable in his own skin. And if he can hold up at right tackle, then that lets that passing game, have a chance in the pocket. And I know it's not a sexy pick, but that's one of the guys that I'll be watching on the edge, and they're easy to spot because they're out there on an island. No doubt.
At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking of G. Allan Taylor here, speaking of Doring has the Kentucky Wildcats going 11-1 and playing in the SEC championship game. That shall be interesting. All right, let's switch gears to defense. I've been harping on the front seven for the last couple of years that I didn't think we were SEC caliber. I have no problem with our back end. I didn't last year. People did. I didn't. Who, in your mind, needs to play at a high level on defense for this team to be a much improved defense?
And I think you're right on about the front seven. I mean, is it a guy like Dexter who has played a lot of snaps his first 2 years, but certainly hasn't lived up to five-star billing yet because he came in so raw? If he finally puts it together, has good pad level, and becomes that consistent monster on the interior, then that helps them because they're really thin at defensive tackle. You're probably going to have a true freshman, McClellan, running with the second unit at DT. And in the SEC, that's typically not a recipe for winning. So I think Dexter just needs to wreck things on the inside. And then obviously for all the pass rushing ability that Brendan Cox has, he can't be a one-trick pony, right? He's got to play the run better. He's got to set the edge, and he's got to have gap discipline so that he's just not seeing pressures and hurries and sacks in his eyes. He's understanding his value as a jack edge rusher, even when he's not getting to the quarterback. So I think those two guys they're pretty obvious answers, man, but I think they've got to carry the load.
No, I agree 100% with you. From the hype and the billing and all that, they got to play to that for Florida to have a chance. They have, in my opinion, they have not played up to the hype. So we shall see. They have the ability, supposedly, the size and all that stuff, but they got to play at a high level for Florida to be a decent defense. And I think they're going to be much improved on defense. I really like the back end. We'll see, though, because game one, Utah, they're physical. We'll find out who wants to buckle their chin strap and play football, because this is going to be a physical football game for sure. All right, I got a question for you. I asked all the media boys when they come on here. When you were at SEC Media Day, who did you have playing for the SEC championship? It's probably obvious, but did you have the Gators pick fourth in the SEC East like the majority did?
I've got the Gators third in the SEC, and really, I think a lot of people said that my 2 through 5 were sort of jumbled, but I feel like that trip to Knoxville might be problematic for the first time in a long time. And I know there's a pretty good string of dominance in that series, but Florida saw probably one of the worst games Tennessee played last year and dominated them. And that was a week after the Gators looked really good against Alabama. And those two teams went totally different directions after that was over. I think being up there with that fan base, it might be a difficult one to win, and that could be the swing game. I'm so anti-Doring on this Kentucky pick because I saw Will Levis throw just as many interceptions as Emory Jones did last year. And I saw their offense struggle to do anything against Florida and Lexington. And, they have one jailbreak screen and they block a kick, and then Florida falls down on a touchdown screen at the end or Florida wins that game. So I'm not as big on Kentucky. Their schedule's soft, though. I mean, I think Louisville's very good, and they've got a MAC team before they play the Gators on week 2. So I've got it, Georgia obviously as 1 in the East, Tennessee just by a razor-thin margin over Florida for number 2. And I think I got Kentucky 4 and South Carolina 5.
Do you have a surprise team, whether it's in the East or the West?
Well, when I'm asked about surprise teams, I always try to pick a team that truly would be a surprise, right? Because a lot of times they'll be like, hey, I think LSU's going to be pretty good this year. And I'm like, well, good every year. Mississippi State has a ton of people back on defense.
That's mine.
Yeah, they got a third-year quarterback in that Leach system, and I think Will Rogers can sling it pretty good. A little bit about Mississippi quarterbacks when they get turned loose. So I think they could. I mean, it's a heck of a schedule in the conference, but out of conference, I think they got Memphis and they have not BYU. They've got one other decent game, maybe Arizona or something. But so I think that could be the team that is this year's Ole Miss if they get a break and could conceivably get to 9 or 10 wins. Of course, probably still get their brains beat in by Alabama over there, but I don't know. There's something about that team physically that I like on defense.
I agree. I like Mississippi State to surprise a lot of people, no doubt about it. But, G. Allen, we appreciate it. Let everybody know how they can read the stuff on The Athletic. Yeah,
we got a Florida tab, doing a lot of Gator stuff, mixing in some national stuff as well, and obviously on Twitter at G. Allan Taylor as well. So I appreciate you having me on, man. Anytime you want to get me down in the swamp, as long as you got enough bandwidth back there, let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the computer today. Sometimes it happens. Yeah, Toby says here, I heard the Kentucky running back is going to be suspended 3 to 4 games. Yeah, but trust me, Cavassier's smoke is just as good. They're loaded at the running back position. Won't matter. All right, G. Allen, appreciate it, my man. Take care.
You too, man. Have a good day, brother.
Yep, we're going to take our final time out, come back, wrap up this Monday edition.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Oga State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogerinsurance.com. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. I want to thank JC and G. Allan Taylor from The Athletic for joining our program. Daryl asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mental Law, how was Jack Jackson as a player? Electric. Explosive, damn good football player. We need some Jack Jacksons. We need dudes that can score touchdowns, and he could fly. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Make sure you tune in. Tell all your friends and family to follow our programs. We're going to crank up our new and improved program on a week from today, and starting next Wednesday, After JC's segment, we'll have Mike Morgan from the SEC Network join us. That'll be brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. But he will give us a breakdown of pretty much everything going on in the Southeastern Conference. So get your questions ready for Mike. We're looking forward to that segment. Have a great day, folks, and we'll see you tomorrow.
1st and 10. Matthews, near side, wide open, Alonzo Sullivan. He may go. Touchdown, Gators.